this tutorial, you're going to learn how to crawl websites for subdomains in Python using the Pythonista IDE for iOS. Okay, so in my project folder, I copied out a subdomains text file, and it's humongous. It comes from the rbsec project on GitHub, which you can find at github.com/rbsec/DNSCAN. And that list is humongous, and it's continuing to grow. Currently, I have it at over 114,000 possible subdomains. So that's pretty cool. I won't open it because it's huge and it will take a very long time to load. So in my app.py, I'm going to start by importing my requests. Import requests. And this is going to allow us to submit a GET response to the web server of our choice. So let's define the request. And I want to pass in a URL. And next what I'm going to do is put together a try exception. So the try exception is going to allow us to test our block of code for errors. So what we're going to do is we're going to return a requests.get, so we can submit this GET request to the web server. And we're going to simplify some things for us. We're going to associate the HTTPS to the URL, and we're going to concatenate that URL to the end of the statement. So we won't have to type this in manually each time. Next, we're going to write an accept block. And this block is going to help us handle errors should there be, some sort of connection error, like a DNS failure, for example. I'm going to clean this up, actually. There we go. And we're going to say requests exceptions, and we're going to need to check for the connection error. Oops. Cool. And we're going to use the pass as our placeholder. Now we need a target. So I'm going to associate a target to a URL. For example, we can say something like google.com. And this is perfectly fine. But the problem with this is I want this crawler to, work for many websites. I don't want to have to type it in each time in the script and then run my script. I want my script to ask me for my input. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for the user's input. I need to probably spell that correctly. User's input. And this will, in the prompt, will allow me to type in the URL each time. So next we're going to write a with statement, and this is going to allow us to open our file, if you remember, our little subdomains.txt. We're going to open this, and because it's in the same directory, we can just specify the name of the file, .txt, and we're going to want to read this, okay, and we're going to ask for this file as a file, and that's going to be a little variable that we're going to play with in just a second. Let's create a for loop. We're going to say for line in file. So basically what's happening is it's going to ask for each line inside of this file as it relates to a line break. So for example, in the file we have something like app, we have web. But we need to actually strip that content. So I'm going to create a variable, call it word, because that makes sense. I'm going to ask for the line to be stripped here. I'm going to pass this. So next what we have to do is we need to concatenate the subdomain to the target. So our target being our domain, principal domain. And we're going to call it a full URL. And we're going to say that it's equal to word, right? So it's going to pick up the word inside of the file. And we're going to concatenate a dot, because obviously this is how we specify a subdomain. And we're going to add that to our target, which is our variable that we specified just before. We're going to create a response. And we're going to set the response equal to request. And yes, request full URL. I make that mistake all the time. I'm not used to this IDE. Okay. So next we need to output this to the user. But for example, what if one of the subdomains, like web or like app, doesn't exist? We need this to continue to output the responses if they do exist. So let's go ahead and put together a little if block. We're going to say if response. And inside of here, we're going to print out to the user. So we're going to say subdomain. And we're going to grab that data there. I'm going to say it exists. And what we need to do here now is format. Oops, there we go. We're going to format our full URL. Cool. So what our crawler is going to do is it's going to submit a GET request to the web server and basically ask for a response. And if the response is a success, we're going to get the full URI back in the console. So let's give this a shot. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to run my Greenleaf app into my crawler. Okay, oh, looks like I misspelled something. I misspelled my method here. There we go. Let's close this, play it again. Let's take a look. Cool. All right, it's going quickly. So it's going to continue to go through the long list of subdomains or possible subdomains until it actually finds the subdomain, and if it exists, we're going to get the URL back in our console. Pretty cool, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Stay tuned for more.